So, on and off for the past 4 months, I've been working on Influencer Ignite 2.0, and finally, tomorrow it launches. Now, I actually want to give you guys a free 45-minute module straight from the middle of the program. Now, go ahead and watch this free module, and tomorrow I'm actually hosting a live free training, because the thing about this module is, it's incredible, but it's sandwiched right in the middle of the entire program, so it gives you very little. It's kind of taken out of context, I guess. So if you want a real step-by-step on how to sign high ticket clients for your agency, as well as build up your coaching business, or launch online courses, ebooks, memberships, and really have them sell out using personal brand, then make sure that you attend that live training tomorrow. So quick prelude, I don't know when it's going to be. It's a multiple 100 slide presentation that I'm doing. It's live. I'm literally going to be like right there on that desk with my mic. So I don't know how long it's going to be, but somewhere around an hour 30-ish, I am going to transition into, presenting Influencer Ignite 2.0 for those that want to take it to the next step. Now, we already have had over 100 people join the test group, and we've had some ridiculous reviews. So I also want to lead in with value with you guys, which is why, as I said, I am giving you the free 45-minute module from Influencer Ignite 2.0. And as I said, if you want to learn even more and get more of sort of like a structured perspective, which is what we're doing tomorrow in the free live training, then as I said, the link is down below. Go ahead and enroll, or go ahead and register and save your spot. We've had over 1,000 people register already. So tomorrow is going to be a full house. It's going to be amazing. I'm so excited for it. And as I said, for 90 minutes, it's going to be pure free value. We're really just breaking down 3 fundamentals to leveraging your personal brand to get these higher ticket clients, or high ticket coaching students, or as I said, releasing online programs, membership sites, stuff like that. That's pretty much it. So I hope you guys enjoyed this free module. As I said, make sure you are there with the rest of us. As I said, it's gonna be a full house tomorrow. Make sure you're there with the rest of us on the live training. And yeah, guys, enjoy. I will see you on either tomorrow, depends on when I'm uploading this. I think see you guys on Sunday. I think I'm gonna upload this on a Friday. So yeah, see you guys on Sunday. So guys, welcome back to Influencer Ignited 2.0. In today's module, we're going to be talking about market manipulation. So here's what we're actually going to cover in this module. Firstly, the only 2 things you need to build an extremely profitable business. Next, finding your perfect prospect. Next, a day in the life of your customer, and day in the life of your customer and pretty much your perfect prospect. Fourth, ripping the horn off of Achilles. 5, how to find concepts, wrestle with them, and lastly, validate them. And number 6, going into battle and bringing back Cornucopia. Now, the only 2 things you need to build a highly profitable business are have an incredible service and product, and second, become amazing at selling it. Now, it's funny, most people usually focus on one or the other, right? And it's okay in different parts of your business to be focused on one or the other, but in a general sense, a lot of people it's crazy. It seems like either people become extremely good at sales and selling, and then they're like, oh, because I'm good at selling, I don't actually need to have a good service or a product, or people have an amazing service or product and they're like, oh, marketing and sales, that's distasteful. That's like, I don't need to do that. My service speaks for itself. So, really, if you can blend the 2 together, you're just going to dominate your market. And you'll be shocked at how quickly you can get to expert level at both of these things when you do the work. And by that, I mean, it's really not that, it won't take you too long to have an amazing service or product if you put in the work and are dedicated and obsessed. And same with sales and selling. So becoming an expert at those 2 things, it's single-handedly the biggest reason I built a 7-figure training business in 12 months. Okay, the biggest reason I built a 7-figure training business in the space of 12 months is because, first of all, I took a honest look at my audience. I took an honest look at my niche and my market, and I went, okay, this is where people are fucking up.
This is where people could be doing more for their customers, and I really delved deep and focused on that. And then on the flip side, I didn't think, oh, just because I have an amazing service or product now, I don't need to learn sales or marketing or paid traffic, or and this sort of stuff comes later down the line, more towards further in personal brand profit and kind of as you move towards platinum and centurion. But I learned sales because I'm like, shit, okay, I have an amazing service or product, but I also need to learn how to sell this thing now. So the perfect prospect. Now, knowing who your ideal customer is, you need to know two things to get your marketing and service bang on target: who you're selling to and how they operate. Now, one of the earliest things you kind of do when you first get into business is build out this sort of perfect avatar, this perfect prospect. Whenever you get into business, you really need to have a deep understanding of who you're selling to, right? And what sort of people do you actually want to attract? Who do you want to work with, and who do you not want to work with? And when you can pinpoint that and you understand them at a core level, honestly, things like ad copy, creating ads, or even sales, selling on the phone, or even just selling via DM or email, all of this stuff just becomes so much easier. So that's number one. Number two is we need to start off by identifying who your perfect prospect is. If you don't currently have any existing customers, don't worry about it. It's actually a great starting point for you. Okay. So if you do already have some customers or some people you've worked with, then you can start to get a rough idea of, what's one common denominator between all of them. And from the people you've worked with, who have you enjoyed working with and who have you not enjoyed working with? And number three, knowing your perfect customer is the best way to making sure your marketing and advertising calls out and attracts that person to you with the right sort of messaging. Okay, so whenever further down the line, when we do some advertising, when you're running targeted ads, for example, you can target people. You can target people by interests, by demographics, etc., etc. That's one way to target people. Now, another way to target people is just your market message, because people resonate with different things. If someone receives a market message from you that they resonate, usually the customers that you are, your perfect prospect, they have a certain way they like being marketed to, or they have a certain drivers. And when you can put those drivers into your market message, then that's a good way to call them out. So as I said, you need to understand the demographic you're shooting for with this. So a day in the life. So going even further, you need to actually visualize what a day in your perfect prospect's life looks like. Okay, so starting from morning to night, what do they do in their free time? Are they happy? Are they sad with their life? And what's one thing that most of your perfect prospects are insecure about? What keeps them up at night? And in order to find your perfect prospect and run through a day in their life, we're actually going to run through a worksheet. So this is a perfect prospect worksheet. Now, you may not have a clear-cut definitive answer for who your ideal customer is, but attempt to answer in as much detail as you can for now. And the easiest way to fill out if you're still a bit unclear is simply think back to when you were starting in your niche. What caused you pain or anxiety? What forced you to take action? So look, you may not have a very clear definitive answer of why other people are interested in your niche, but you should know why you're interested in your niche. Most of the time people get into a niche because they were struggling with some sort of issue. Okay, so just think back to when you got started in your niche. What was it that kept you up at night? What do you get insecure about? Why were you even interested, or why do you even care in the first place? So guys, the worksheet is downloadable as a Pages or a Word document, and make sure you fill it out before we carry on with this module. So let me run through the questions and I'll show you exactly how to fill it out now. So this is a perfect prospect. So how old is your perfect prospect? Example could be roughly 25 to 34. Where does your perfect prospect probably live? Some examples: Spain, Mexico, Morocco, just an example. And what gender is your perfect prospect? Now, it can be both if it genuinely is both, but I would say if it's skewed maybe 75% one gender and 25% the other gender, I would just focus on one gender and have a market message that mainly kind of resonates with one gender specifically if they really are that dominant. So let's just say male, for example. And what is the ultimate goal of your perfect prospect? Some example would be to lose weight and feel respected. Now, if you can go into extra detail, that is perfect. What keeps your perfect prospect up at night? An example: feeling unworthy and out of place, not feeling proud of themselves, not feeling proud of themselves or their body. What is your perfect prospect driven by? Another example, they're driven by a sense of worth and wanting to feel better about themselves. So where are they driven by? Why would they even want change? And what does your perfect prospect get up to in his or her free time? Example, they probably spend too much time in the office working, watching TV, etc., etc. And it's interesting. I actually went through this exercise with my personal trainer, and these are kind of where some of these examples come from. Is there one outcome that that your perfect prospect wishes for the most, and what is it? And think about the deeper why. So, example, they just want to lose weight and feel healthy again. And once again, just go much further into detail and write as much about this as you possibly can, because the better you understand your marketing, the better you understand your audience, the better your marketing will be. And when your marketing is better, then, well, you'll make more money, quite frankly. What is the vehicle to get them to this outcome, and what's the how? Example, help them set up a simple macronutrient split, as well as show them how to progressively overload. So this is an example of someone in the fitness niche, for example. So guys, go ahead, download this, fill it out, and pause this video, fill it out, and then come back once you are done. So, ripping the horn off of Achilles. Now, you might be wondering, what the hell does this have to do with building a personal brand and selling information? Well, stay with me. So this is I mispronounce this every time, but Cornucopia. Cornucopia is also known as the horn of plenty, and this horn is the symbol of abundance, prosperity, and nourishment. So basically, once you attain this horn, you're basically fed forever. Okay, and you can kind of see that in the photo there. So the modern version of this is market knowledge. So when you understand your market, you're valuable to others. When you're valuable to others, you will literally never go hungry again in your life. Remember what I told you. It's really simple. Have an incredible product or service and just become good at selling it and marketing it. Okay? And when you do that, you're never going to go hungry again. So, Hercules and Achilles. So, the way this story goes, there's multiple stories of how one came to attain this horn, but one of the stories was basically Hercules had to fight Achilles in the river and tear this damn thing off of him. And you can see Hercules there fighting this bull. Achilles, sometimes he came in the form of a bull. And you can see him trying to rip this thing off. Okay? And he had to get into the trenches. Hercules had to get into the trenches. He had to wrestle with Achilles. And then he could come out with the horn. And this is really what separates the winners from the losers. You see, what you need to do is you need to go into your niche, refine into a sub-niche, find concepts, wrestle with them, and then sell the information that you've gathered and field tested. You need to tear the horn off of Achilles. Okay? So, wrestling in the trenches. So, to kind of bring this back in, too many people want the horn of plenty without going into the trenches and wrestling with the concepts. Okay, too many people want limitless abundance without actually going in and field testing concepts. Okay, too many people just want to find something and then immediately offer some coaching services, or immediately offer an info product, or offer this or that, but they don't actually bother to go into the trenches. Bother to go into the trenches, put the work in to field test concepts, to try concepts, to validate concepts, to figure out, shit, if I put this forward to a customer, will this even work? Okay? So too many people want, just the abundance, they want the money without actually putting in the work. Okay? So when you go through the perfect persona worksheet and truly understand what your niche worries about, what keeps them up at night, what inspires them, etc., then you're pretty much halfway there. Okay? You're halfway there because you understand what the market needs, what it wants, and what it responds to. Okay, so that's kind of the sales and the marketing side of things. So that's half of the job, really. So once you understand that, now it's just time to rip the horn off of Achilles, and this is where 90% of people quit and give up. Okay, they quit and give up when they actually have to study their niche, field test concepts. Most people, as I said, they just want to learn about something. They hear about something from a couple people, think they're experts because they understand it conceptually, but then they never bother to go in and actually field test the concepts. And they never want to rip the horn off of Achilles. They want the horn of plenty, but they don't actually want to rip it off, get into the trenches, get dirty, get muddy, and fight for it. Okay, so you have to start by studying your niche, taking concepts and field testing it. That is when you validate a concept. Now, once you validate it, you can sell this knowledge for money. Now, guys, one thing I also I don't want you to get overwhelmed and think, okay, I just need to become an expert in my niche, in my field. I need to know everything about, everything about anything in my field. Don't get me wrong there. Literally, if all you understand is how to suppress appetite, like something so, small, but there's so many ways you can do it. Like, even if you could become an expert at suppressing appetite while doing intermittent fasting, or you could become an expert at picture profile 7 on Sony cameras. I'm just throwing out some examples of things that are, of niches that I'm aware of. Even if you can just become a expert at making sure that skin tones on Sony cameras look accurate. Like, that's such a small little sub niche. But if you can go in and you can test this thing and you can validate it, then you can sell that for money, and you can sell that again and again and again and again. You don't need to be an expert at this broad thing. Even if you are just an expert at, literally there's so many niches and so many things to do out there. But literally, if you are an expert at just speed reading, okay, let's just say speed reading even. You can take that knowledge and you can just go out and, once you find a concept on speed reading, and you test it out and you validate it, that's it. Like, that's the green light for you to go. Once you test it, you validate it, and it works, that's the green light. Then you can go and sell that information. Okay, but a lot of people, they just want to read about how to speed read. They want to watch a video on how to speed read quicker, and then immediately, without actually testing or validating the concept. Because one of the things, guys, is how do you know that person whose video you watch, how do you know that they're even right? Because quite frankly, they probably didn't even put the time in to actually validate the concepts. Okay, so that's what I'm saying. You don't need to become an expert at everything. Just find that one small thing to begin with. If there's not already one of those things that stands out in your mind where you have tested a concept, you validated it, and you went in, you wrestled with Achilles, and you ripped that damn horn off of him. If there's not already something that comes to mind where you can do that, well, then find something, and once you validate, you've got the green light, you can then go ahead and sell it. Okay, so how to win in this space? Learn, test, sell. That's literally the formula for untold riches. Okay, this is pretty much what the personal brand info product space is. Info product or info product / coaching, consulting, personal brand sort of business space is. Learn, test, sell. I guess I've been at times I can go quite deep and possibly make things confusing for you. But I'll always try and bring it back in and wrap it in to a very simple message. And this message this time is learn, test, sell. Learn something, test it. Once it works, you sell it. It's really easy. Guys, I can honestly say, in order to get to $1 million a year in profit, I have not found a financial vehicle out there that is easier than this. In order to get to $1 million profit a year, I'd be very interested to see if someone could actually find me a financial vehicle, and I'm talking $1 million profit, that is easier and quicker to scale. I wouldn't say easier, I would say quicker to scale than this business model right here. Learn, test, sell. Okay, so guys, remember, this is available for printout and as a wallpaper, so that'll be right below this video. Learn. So for probably 95% of you, you've already learned about your niche and probably even field tested some of the concepts. So I'm running through this for absolute beginners and as a reminder for some of the more advanced students as well. Because guys, whether you realize it or not, like, you probably know something, and you've probably done something and it's worked. Okay, no matter, you might have learned how to even increase 3 inches or 2 inches on your vertical jump. You've learned how to do that. You had to go through a process in order to learn how to do that, and it had a result that worked. So you've validated the concept. Now, then you can go ahead and you can take that and you can validate that with more people who you teach it to, and you can sell it to them. So you need to study your sub-niche and find a solution to a problem that they're facing. And this is where you learn the concepts. Okay, so when you first start, if you're genuinely starting from absolutely scratch or zero, which 95% of you aren't, but if you are, it's actually quite exciting. So, don't be disheartened. It's actually quite exciting because you got a fresh, clean slate and an entire roadmap on how to do this thing. So what you need to do is you need to start studying your niche and your sub niche. And this is where you get concepts, right? This is the point where you logically and theoretically understand the concepts, but it's just not enough. It's time to move into the next phase, which is test. Okay, so once you've learned these concepts, and I think a little bit further down the line, I'm actually going to show you how to find concepts. So after you find these concepts, you learn them. Now you have to test them. So once you've learned something, as I said, it's not just enough to accept it at face value, especially considering you'll be charging for this information in the form of coaching and online programs later down the line. So once you learn it, you need to go out there and you need to field test it. Now, this is where you validate the theory. This will give you a greater confidence when you go to teach later on, as well as ensure your sales and marketing is better. Okay, so it's very, when you sell something and you market something that works, it becomes very, very easy. Your confidence level goes through the roof, and on a subconscious level, selling it just becomes a bit of a breeze, honestly. Okay, and this is where I see most people get lazy with. They just want to learn the information, they never actually want to test it, and then they want to sell it to the market. Then they wonder why customers never spend more money with them. They wonder, they're confused as to why they never get repeat customers after that. After selling concepts that they don't actually even know if they work. Okay, so next thing is sell. Now, when you've properly learned and tested something, selling the information to someone is actually the easiest aspect of the entire process. So after going through the perfect persona, know thy persona, niche, perfect prospect, know thy persona, niche and sub-niche worksheets, you should be able to understand where to position this new info you have in the market. Now, when you have information that can bring value to others and you pair that with self-awareness of your position in the marketplace, look, you're pretty much unstoppable, okay? As I said, you're the rising phoenix of your niche and / sub-niche, okay? When you have something that has been validated, tested, and even something just as minute or small as, like, as I said, how to make skin tones on Sony cameras look like skin tones on Canon cameras, or just something so small and minute like that. When you have that knowledge and you've validated and tested it, and you can pair that with understanding where you fit in the marketplace and learning how to sell, look, you're unstoppable. Okay, now here's the issue that arises. The main issue that arises in this space is that people will take the information at face value without ever really testing the concepts or validating them. Okay, so in the personal brand space, a lot of people, they'll just find concepts from other people and then they don't actually ever test it themselves. They're just like, oh, okay, yeah, that makes sense. I guess that works. So I'm just going to start telling people to do it. So people start to follow in crowds someone that may not even have full certainty in themselves that what they're saying is correct. Okay, so you'll get one person who's not even really sure if what he's saying is right, who will teach it to another person who's not really sure if what he's saying is right, who will teach it to another person who's not really sure of whether he's saying it right. But because they're taking it from the next person, and going, oh, I just assume that person knows what they're talking about. The issue is, you could be teaching wrong concepts to potential customers without even realizing it. Okay, so look, honestly, I can teach you how to sell and market extremely well. Okay, the selling and the marketing in this program, it's the best. Okay, it's the best out there. It's the best on the market. You will learn how to sell and market your services better than anyone else. Okay, but the place that really separates the gold, platinum, and centurion tier from the rest is taking concepts and validating them, because that is where remember what I told you at the beginning. In order to build a 7-figure business out of this, firstly, you need to have an amazing product or service. And second, you need to be able to sell it. I will teach you how to sell. But having an amazing service or product, I will teach you how to do that. But you need to go in and you need to do the work. You need to fight Achilles. You need to rip the damn fucking horn off of him. And when you have that horn, you're good for the rest of your life. It's literally untold riches. So how to find concepts. For those of you that don't actually know how to find these concepts, you're like, Iman, I'm just starting out. How do I actually figure this stuff out? How do I find these concepts? Well, the best way to learn is do. Okay, so for most of you guys watching, you probably have a few concepts that you've tested and validated. For some others, though, you may be diving into a new niche. Now, the reason I've never been a fan of most, there's some exclusions, universities and degrees, is because they're taught by people who have never actually done what they're teaching. They're just academics. So the best teacher is the one who has reference experience, been through the trenches, and tested the concepts. Okay, so that's sort of the only issue I have with some sort of professors out there and sort of some of the education system. It's like they never left the system. They just were in the system, learned from the system, stayed in the system, and then taught the system, whereas they never actually went out there and validated the concepts themselves. Okay, now even a total beginner can learn a concept, validate it, and validate it within days or weeks. Okay, so don't let this discourage you. I'll be showing you how to find some of the early stage concepts and get started learning them. So this is how you learn for free. All of these platforms are incredible. There's some amazing people teaching them, but because it's free, a lot of the time there will be a lot of clutter and just a lot of BS that you have to sift through, unfortunately. So let's start off with YouTube. Now, YouTube is an amazing directory to learn concepts for free. So pretty much no matter what niche you're in, there will be information on YouTube. There'll be videos on YouTube that you can take and test out yourself. Okay, so literally any niche out there are people on YouTube documenting their journey, sharing their journey, what they've learned. Now, they're probably some of those people where they are smart, they're knowledgeable, they just never learned how to sell. So they're just pumping out all this free YouTube stuff without actually having, they need a program like this, which actually teaches you how to build a business from it and monetize it. So there are actually a lot of amazing people out there who are putting free content on YouTube because they don't know how to monetize it. And, that's a lot of time it's actually incredibly high quality content and stuff. So as I said, YouTube is an amazing directory to learn. Next thing is podcasts. Now, podcasts give you more of a general sense of things rather than super specific. Podcasts are usually longer form, 30 minutes, an hour, and there's a lot covered, and it's usually interview style. But it's a great way to learn and listen while you're walking to the gym or in the car, okay? So if you're in the car or you're walking to the gym or even just walking on the street to see a friend or a meeting, it's just a great way to brush up on your niche. And get closer to some general concepts. Then you can go in and you can try to test and validate yourself and see if anyone else in the market has tested and validated those concepts. And the next thing is Facebook groups. Now, a lot of time you can actually find high quality groups specific to your niche and reach out to people there with questions. So, a lot of time if you're doing let's see, what's a niche website. You're in the niches of website, or you're a web developer. There are web developer groups out there, and you can find some of the people who are posting high quality content on there just for free and reach out to them and just ask them a couple questions. Most of the time, people are so happy to talk about what they're passionate about and to talk about themselves. So that's also an amazing way to learn for free. So look, if you are serious about hitting gold, okay, that 100 to 200K a year mark, as well as moving forward into Platinum and Centurion, look, most of you right now watch TV, okay? You watch other people's lives through vlogs, you scroll through Facebook feed for hours without realizing it. So you can continue doing this, but just understand that it comes at a personal sacrifice for your income. So you'll make less money, and it'll take you far longer to hit $100,000 a year income. So if you're watching TV, if you're watching other people's vlogs, for example, cool, you may be watching someone else's life through a lens, but that's at a detriment of your own life. So look, you can continue to watch that, your 3 favorite vloggers on YouTube, but is it really helping you? Would you rather, because all you're doing is helping them build their business and their lifestyle. So would you rather do that, or would you rather get serious, focus on your niche, make sure you're constantly around these concepts as well as new concepts and learning from other people in your niche for free, and hit that gold mark within this program? So in week 2, we already covered how to cut out distractions. So week 2 of this program, we went in depth on how to cut out distractions, but I need to emphasize the getting rid of your TV, cutting out any YouTube channels that aren't about your niche, cutting out any podcasts outside of your niche, and applying a Facebook feed blocker as well as the YouTube subscription recommendation blocker. And these other measures will ensure you hit 8 to 10K per month a lot quicker, okay? You need to cut out distractions and just focus on building the business. So now it's time to go into battle. So going into battle. Now, once you've learned this concept, once you've learned a concept from one of the free tools, for example, that I mentioned, it's time to actually test them out and wrestle with them. Now, I want you to keep in mind that while you're testing new concepts, you can still sell information and coaching on how to apply other concepts that you may already know by now. So say, for example, say web design, you may actually know how to create Wix websites, okay, but you may not know how to create, or maybe you know how to create websites, but you don't know how to create apps. And you're currently, testing concepts, validating concepts, learning how to sell apps, so that you can then sell that information to other people on how to sell apps. While you're learning how to develop apps. So while you're learning how to develop apps. So yeah, as I was saying, if you actually know how to create good WordPress sites, sell that so you're actually getting some sales in, some money in, while you're also learning this new skill that then you can sell to the market, which is learning how to develop apps, okay? So if you have a skill you're already validated, you can start selling that from the get-go. Obviously follow the 6-month timeline to the best of your abilities, just because it works. But my point is, if someone comes at you in the first month and, actually wants help learning how to build websites, you can do that either for them or, more in the model of how we like to do things, actually coach them and let them do it themselves. So yeah, I gave you another example in here, which was about Facebook ads, but let's just run with the web design one. So my goal is to be extremely practical with this program. Okay, that's always been really important to me. I want to get you selling and making money as soon as possible. Okay, so that's what the affiliate marketing is for, as well as selling concepts that have already been tested for those who have experience in your niche. The affiliate marketing is really just so you can start getting some money and some sales in right from the get-go, from the beginning, as well as selling concepts that you already know work. So as I said, here's an example with fitness. So you hear about this concept called intermittent fasting and try it out for 30 days, okay? In that time, you learn everything that there is to know about it. You learn how to make people perform mentally. You learn how it can make people perform better mentally as well as lose weight, okay? And this entire time, you're loading the cannon and you're building up your attention on YouTube so people start watching you and you have some leads, okay? So let's say you're fresh into this program. You're new into this program, and you decide, this intermittent fasting thing, I've been in fitness, but I want to learn this intermittent fasting thing, okay? So you learn this intermittent fasting thing, and for literally 30 days, your podcast, all about intermittent fasting. Your YouTube videos, they're all about intermittent fasting. Pretty much, you're validating this intermittent fasting thing on yourself and learning how can I use it to maybe lose weight or feel better mentally and feel in better peak performance. And guys, this is just an example. On the other hand, you might even validate how, actually eating 6 meals a day is the best way to do things. It's just an example. So in that 30 days, you're using yourself as a test subject, and you're also making your entire life about learning intermittent fasting. So everything you watch on YouTube, everything you watch on podcasts, all of that is all pertaining to intermittent fasting and other people's experience with it that you can then tie into your own. Now, while you're doing this, you're also documenting on YouTube, and you're starting to make YouTube videos about intermittent fasting, some of the other things pertaining to fitness, how to feel, how to three drinks you can drink in the morning to feel less groggy or something like that. These are all things that could at the end of the day pertain and lead back up to what eventually you'll be selling, which is how to execute our intermittent fasting. So you're building up your YouTube, your Instagram, and you're starting to get some leads, okay? So that by the time you actually go out and you sell this service and this information, this knowledge, you actually have an audience that you can sell it to. So after properly validating intermittent fasting, you start to get on some coaching students that you work on a 4-week program. And this is really where you show them how to implement intermittent fasting and how to use it to be more productive. Now, you sign 5 customers, and 5 of these coaching students, 5 of these customers, they're paying you $500 for 4 weeks of coaching. So 4 1-hour calls, plus, let's just say messenger access in between or email access in between if they have any questions. And look, at that point, you're making $2.5K and you're working 5 hours a week in terms of your actual service delivery, because as I said, you're just doing 4 calls, one hour call for a 4-week period. So if you have 5 customers, you're only actually working 5 hours a week. And look, 2.5K, that's enough to quit your job and take this full time and scale to 10K per month. So that's an example with fitness. An example with wellness is you learn about presence work, how to quiet the mind and be more focused. Now, you apply it for 30 to 90 days and become obsessed with learning it in the meantime, okay? So this entire time you're loading the cannon, once again, building up your attention on YouTube as well as Instagram. You'll see how to learn, you'll learn how to do all of these things in phase 1. And as I said, you're loading the cannon in this phase. You're building up your attention, and people are really starting to watch you, and once again, you're starting to have some leads. Now, you start to take 2 coaching students on for testimonials. Okay, so in this example, you might take on 2 as testimonials, and then from there start teaching people a 4-week coaching program for 1K and sign 3 in your first month. Okay, you make it clear why $1,000 is tiny in comparison to the pain of living life with constant chatter in your head. And I know what that's like. Once again, guys, that's why I have a meditation coach myself. Especially if you're in the corporate world or business world, or you have a high stress maybe life, you've got that constant chatter in your head. And look, if for $1,000 someone can make that go away, I would pay $100,000 for that. Okay, so you make it clear, and once again, you're gonna learn all of these sales techniques later on in the program. And you also make it clear why learning these principles will make you a better athlete, business person, stock trader, whatever your potential customer is into, whether they're an athlete, stock trader, chef, whatever it may be. And they'll actually make more money from it, because when you have less chatter in your head, you're better able to perform in your job. And that's legitimately how my meditation coach signed me on it. My meditation coach told me, look, disregard my fee, because at the end of the day, if you can have entire clarity and focus on your work, that's going to make you far more money than the price of my services. Plus, you're going to be happier. You're going to have a better time when you're with your family, your friends. So that's actually how my meditation coach signed me on that. Example 3, dating. Okay, so a girl learns how to keep men interested in her for the long term. So she tests this concepts for 90 days and finds success. So, maybe a girl goes, okay, how can I, find a guy and keep him interested? Okay, and she starts to learn these concepts. It becomes her life. She finds these concepts online from other women who talk about dating and how to have a better dating life. And she tests these concepts over the space of 90 days, and she actually finds success. And once again, this entire time, she's building her following on YouTube, Instagram, etc., and speaks about her learnings as she does them. And funnily enough, I used to be in this quite high-end mastermind, and there was a lady in there who literally did this. She taught women how to keep men in there, like how to keep men, how to find men and actually keep them around, not just have a one-night fling, and just have a much better dating life. And she literally built a 7-figure business based on that. So guys, another thing I really want to say is, no matter what niche you're into, you can build a huge, wildly profitable, just successful beyond your dreams business if you're committed, you're dedicated, you learn sales, all of the stuff that we talk about in this program. And at the end of it, she sells a 4-week coaching program, this particular woman, for $500, and she signs 8 girls. She makes it clear why $500 is nothing, okay? So she says to her potential clients, how much would your potential husband and father of your kids be worth to you? Love and happiness has no price, so $500 is nothing in comparison to this. So, for a woman who is in pain because her dating life is not where she wants it to be, if you as a coach and if you as a coach and if your personal brand is able to offer a service and a solution, do you think that she'd pay $500 to make that pain go away? 100%. Okay, so here's that's another example. So, guys, on the other side of Cornucopia, I always mispronounce that. There's literally untold riches on the other side of this process. It's hard at first, but you'll never have to worry about money again. Okay? Now, this is a coaching student that I sold on a 4 calls, 4 60-minute calls to help build his webinar and just coach him on building his personal brand and starting to monetize it better. So this is 3,500 pounds for that. and that comes out to actually $4,500. So at this time, I've been doing webinars for 3.5 months. Okay, so this is kind of just a crazy bit about it. Okay, what I sold him on, I literally followed this exact process that I'm telling you guys. So I just kind of wanted to show you this in work. Show that this actually works and that I actually validated this concept on myself. Okay, so as I said, this is a coaching student, and what it is webinar consulting, webinar funnel consulting. Now, I had built my first webinar 3.5 months before this time. Okay, so I did it for 3.5 months. I validated, and then now I was able to sell it for pretty much $1.2K an hour. Okay, as I said, in the space of 3.5 months, I was getting paid $1,125 an hour to show them how to build a webinar, even though I'd built my first one ever only 3.5 months before this time. Okay, now when I built my webinar, for 2 weeks, it became my life. It's all I thought about. It's all I studied, all of the YouTube videos, all of everything became the webinar funnel for 2 weeks, probably closer to 4 weeks. But who cares? Because 3.5 months later, I'm able to sell that information after validating it as well for $4,500 for just 4 60-minute calls. $1,125 an hour. So literally with my current fees, I could work 4 hours a week and make $16,000 plus a month. I can make $4,000 a week by having four customers, 4 consulting clients, and at that point I'm making $16,000 a month with a 4-hour work week. So technically the 4-hour work week is actually possible. Okay, so would you not call learning this business model the horn of plenty? Do you not see now, is it not apparent to you now why I'm so passionate about this topic and why I believe in this business model so much? Because at the end of the day, and also why I press so hard on actually learning the concepts, validating them, and giving a shit about your customer. Okay, because look, trust me, the last thing you want is to be able to sell and market and make a crap ton of money, but your customers are never happy. Okay, that will bring you zero fulfillment. You'll wish that you didn't have the money, you just had fulfillment. But when you have the money and you have the fulfillment because you know that your product and your service works and it's changing other people's lives and it's making a difference, it's there. I just don't think I've never found a better business model in terms of your own self-worth, your own self-fulfillment, and the financial abundance. This business model really is the horn of plenty. Okay, and as I said, the best part is you'll never get more grateful people in your life than coaching students. Okay, they can tell you've put the work in, tested the concepts, and put time into your craft. Okay, so as I said, this gentleman paid me $4,500, but I know our session together will make him minimum $100,000 in the next year alone. Okay, so I know that's the case because I had 2 clients. Obviously, I have another business, which was my marketing agency. I had 2 clients who I learned the webinar funnel, I tested it on myself, and then 2.5 months later, I sold the webinar funnel to them as a service. And at the time of creating this slide, it was actually around end of July. Now it's actually the end of August, and I can tell you that in July, both those clients made $100,000 profit from that webinar funnel. Okay, so I know this gentleman, as I said, he paid me $4,500, but I know this is going to be worth over minimum $100,000 plus to him in the next year alone. But once again, even if you are a wellness coach, if someone pays you $4,500 for a 4-week, coaching program, just think about how much happiness and peace that is going to bring them over the space of the next year. You can assign a value to it. As I said, I can tell you that if someone was able to come to me and go, Iman, I will show you how to switch from being in work mode to being present in the space of 5 minutes rather than sometimes it taking hours or not even being able to happen because I'm so focused on work or I'm in such a logical state, I would literally write that person a check for $100,000 right now. Okay? So if that person charged me $10,000 for it and I knew that they'd validated their concepts and they tested it and it worked and they were able to sell me correctly, I would pay $10,000 for it. As I said, heck, I'd pay $100,000 for it. I'd be happy to pay $10,000 for it. Okay? So guys, really, if you learn this stuff, this is the horn of plenty. So then that's coaching, right? That's coaching where he paid me $4,500 for 4 hours. Now let's move on to online programs. Now I currently make $60,000 to $70,000 a month consistently through my online programs, and I know within by the end of this year, within the space of 5-6 months, that's going to be up to around $250,000 a month. Okay, and I have no doubt that within the next couple of years that will be $1 million a month. Now the reason it didn't grow very quickly is you can see it's starting to grow month by month there, but the reason it's not $250,000 a month is because I spent so long validating and testing the methodology in my programs that I wasn't focused on selling it. Now I can focus on selling it because I know it works. That this thing is going to go up to $250,000 a month in no time. Okay, so as I said, I currently make $60,000 to $70,000 a month through my programs. That's revenue. Around 60% of that comes through Teachable automatically, and around the other 40% my team has to do through manual invoicing. So my mission is to reform the education system and scale my programs to the world. I've been spending my time recently making my products the best they can be. So as I said, I know I'll be at $500,000 per month with the programs within 6 to 9 months. That's not a doubt in my head. So these things take so much hard work and testing. It's unbelievable. Like if you want to create a high quality program, the amount of work that goes into it is ridiculous, guys. You would not believe the amount of work that is going into this Influencer Ignite 2.0 program. Okay, I'm able to crank out one of these modules a day. Okay, so it takes me all in all to create one of these modules around 8 to 9 hours. Okay, to actually gather up all my notes and all my thoughts, put them down on in a pages document, and then actually create the presentation and put it all together in a way that actually makes sense and flows with the rest of the program, and then to record it, actually render it, put it into the content portal. All in all, it takes around 8 to 9 hours. Okay, and I'm still recording this, but I'm pretty sure there's going to be 70, 80, 90 modules in this course. So it's literally just nonstop work for 3-4 months, and I have to put everything else to the side while I'm doing this. Okay, but I'll be showing you how to do an easier low ticket version of this in the phase 4 of this program. So as you can tell, my program, it's taken crap tons of work, but I'm going to show you how to do, within the space of a week, create a low ticket version of something like this program, and sell it for anywhere from $100 to $300, and really use that as the 6-figure solidifier. So look, all of this looks amazing, huh? Well, let me break down the simple truth of what I did to make this possible. Okay, this is truly how I built a 7-figure business in 12 months. Rip the horn off of Achilles. So once you find a niche, become obsessed with it, learn all you can, and most importantly, test and apply it to validate the concepts. Okay, that's number 1. Number 2, always put the customer and the client first. Always. I get feedback, as I said, a lot that I undercharge. And to me, this is good because I know they keep coming back for more. So I would rather charge, I could probably charge someone $5,000 for this program, or $5,000 for a program. Say I only charge that person $1,000. I know I'm losing out on a lot of money, but I know that person is going to buy that $1,000 program, then they're going to buy a $3,000 program, a $6,000 program, come to a $15,000 mastermind, and eventually in 7, 8, 9 years, spend $100,000 with me on a high-end mastermind or something like that. Okay, so I know they keep coming back for more. So use the concepts in this program to generate leads and sell better than anyone else out there. That's another big thing. Once we validate these concepts and you just know what you're saying works. When you get to that point, we're going to show you how to generate leads and sell better than anyone else in the market. Okay, so when you've got an amazing product/service and you learn how to sell it, you pretty much become unstoppable. Okay. Now, remember that it doesn't take long to become an expert at something. You just have to put the work in. Okay, it's funny because within the space of 3 to 6 months, you can know a lot more than people who have been doing it for 10 years because you actually tested and validated the concepts and you just gave a shit. Okay, so learn, test, sell. That is the formula for untold riches. And really, guys, that is what I want to leave you with here in this module. Okay, learn, test, sell. Once you learn how to do that, and once you execute on that, I told you guys, it is literally untold riches. Okay, and this is just scratching the surface of what it can get to. Okay, these sorts of numbers. So learn, test, sell. Okay, I'll see you guys in the next module.